There was an idea to bring a family together, to see if they could become something more, to see if they could build a brand thinking of all things Marvel that no one else could. This is Everyone Loves a Good Story. Marvel, the MCU, and me. I am Mingard. You are my guests. Welcome. If you like our content, you can share, press the like button, and subscribe with the bell. You can also join the conversation in the comments, but thou shalt be respectful. This is a mature but family-oriented channel. I'm always watching, but unlike Watu, I will interfere. Get it? Got it. Good story.
Gather round, true believers that Sip is still living. Here goes another episode of Everyone Loves a Good Story. I am Mint God, and today I'm blessed not only with my guest, but my guest host. So here we go. I got my brother Hooks, otherwise known as Christopher O'Connor, on the side of me. And then we got somebody that I've been trying to holler at since I saw him in the now 23 Emmy nominated. Oh my God. It just gets crazier and crazier.
Yes, man.
Wandavision. We got my boy, David Payton, in the building, otherwise known as Herb. If y'all follow me and know about me, then you know I've been geeking on dude's character from day one, and we're going to get into that today too. Welcome, Herb. How you doing?
Man, I appreciate it, man.
Welcome, Herb.
Welcome, Herb.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, he said he was geeking on my character, so
yeah, man.
Appreciate you having me on the show, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. So this is a Marblehead segment. You know what I mean? This is not everyone. This is not an art of the superpower, but I do want to have David come back later, and then we can really get into his life story, because I think it's a very, very important life story. And I haven't had anybody that served in the armed forces come on that segment and that show yet. So I want to actually get into how he came to be where he is now from a childhood till then. But that's not this one. We're gonna come back. This is a Marblehead show. We talking Wandavision today. We talking Marvel. We talking comic books. We talking everything that we loved as kids that we now know is worth billions of dollars, and everybody want to jump in now. But we've been doing this since back in the 80s, and some of our old heads doing it since the 60s. So that's what we represent. What was the preparation for WandaVision like? Were there any outlier protocols that, you know, were unique unto Marvel that you can recall, besides the pandemic protocols? I mean, that basically infection protocols and stuff like that.
I mean, with any film, there's always going to be protocols as far as, you know, the simplification of, you know, just, you know, learning your lines and, you know, character development and things of that nature. For me, it was really simple because, you know, Marvel was so on point with everything from, you know, the sets to the storylines. I mean, it was so well put together. All I needed to do was just know my lines and be in the place of my direction. So the preparation was pretty simple. It was easy, man. It was made easy because everything else was easy.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people like tend to forget, like, there's so many pieces to making a film or a project. You know, it's not just the actors and directors. You have the writers. You know, we had great direction. You know, Matt Shackman was freaking outstanding. You know, Jack Schaefer and her whole writing team was amazing. You know, producers, assistant directors. I mean, from the janitors all the way up to, you know, the extras and the supporting cast. It was just phenomenal. Everybody was on point.
So what I mean is, was there anything unique to Marvel? Like, we already know about how the scripts are compartmentalized. You know, they're compartmentalized so that everybody doesn't know what, you know, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, so that things don't leak, right? But was there anything that Marvel did that was more like, I never saw that before, besides the compartmentalization or just making sure everybody was COVID safe or whatever? Was there anything like, did the janitors have to swipe a card to get into the into the lot? Like, did the, did y'all have to double?
I think for Marvel, because I mean, mind you, I'm still new in this business, so this is probably my first major project.
Okay.
From the sets that I've been on, prior to WandaVision, which was Chicago PD.
I was about to say Chicago PD
Waves,
looking at you.
So it was like I said, it was so on point. Like it was like, it's almost like you go on a cruise and your first cruise is like a major cruise and everybody else's first cruise is like a regular one. So it's like, I can't really explain what was so significant or what was so different, because everything was so on point. You know what I mean? Like, and granted, like you even mentioned it, like Marvel's so discreet. They don't let the left hand know the right hand's doing it. If they do, they cut off. One of those hands get cut off. You know what I'm saying? So it was just so on point. And then on top of that, it was a cooperation from both, the executives, from Kevin Feige all the way down to the actors. Right. Like, because if you really think about it, if any real secret was let out, it'll really defame the integrity of the series or any film for that matter.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. I was about to jump in, just piggybacking off what you said last. I actually went into IMDb to go look you up a few things about you. Looked at a few of your interviews as well. I wanted to be prepared. And you kind of said something that stuck out to me. You said in the interview that you had some specific training going into this MCU role, but you couldn't really get into the specifics of it due to the fact that WandaVision was actually on air at the time. Now that it's not on air, do you think you'll be able to like specifically discuss the process that you went into to train for this role?
That specific training was kind of like, it's a little interpersonal. It was. I'm not 100% on my comfort level yet sharing that. But it was just it's basically me, getting some, it's almost like acting lessons, just to simplify it.
Okay.
Don't want to go too much in depth, but because everybody has their own little internal.
I understand. Everybody has their walls blocked,
Yeah. So I guess that's one of my.
I get it.
But it was just some training, some extra training, that I took some initiative to do on my own, just to prepare, basically.
Okay. All right.
Real quick, you had mentioned a few of the greats that you had studied. I can't recall their names. Could you say their names again, as far as like the acting greats, that not the actors, but the actual writers and the directors that you looked at?
The direction of Max Shackman. He was the director for WandaVision. And then the writer was the lead writer and also the executive producer, Jack Schaefer.
You mentioned Kevin Feige. We know that WandaVision was his brainchild from the beginning. How involved was he with all of you actors, specifically you though? How many times, from the beginning of you becoming a part of this project all the way down to probably right now with getting a phone call for maybe getting a phone call for the celebration of the 23 Emmys. How involved has he been with you in all the steps? Pardon the plane.
No, all good. He's been involved with the project holistically, just from start to finish. I think there was one point, because to be honest, I didn't even know who he was as far as like physically recognize him if I saw him. I think at one point he was on set, and I'm such a clown, like I'll talk to anybody, right. And I was probably clowning around with him and didn't even know it, But he's such a laid back guy, Extremely smart. You wouldn't, you would think that he had such a high position that, you would be kind of like intimidated, but, he just didn't give off that persona. As far as his involvement, he was there from start to finish. Obviously, I mean, my particular role, I felt wasn't as significant, in a sense to where, not in a sense to where it, would have him being so involved,
right?
But he was involved holistically from start to finish. There's no doubt about that.
Was there ever a point where he might have nudged you or said, said anything to you about your character or about what he was looking for holistically in WandaVision? Like, I'm trying to see how deep did he get with putting his hands on it directly. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
And I know he trusted everybody that he brought on board, but knowing how much from hearing stories about how much this was so important to him, and also knowing that his grandfather had something to do with the Dick Van Dyke Show, and that this was him, basically getting his own familial full circle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then winning so hard after getting hit with, they don't take chances, they don't do this, they don't do that. And then he comes up with this project for you guys, and you guys took every chance that there was, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
Trying to figure out, like, did he, like, yeah, let me.
And I think that's what makes him such a, a great leader, because, there was no micromanagement. He literally trusted the people he appointed for this project. Like I said, I mean, Max Shackman with his direction. I mean, Max Shackman was just one of the dopest directors I've worked with. He's literally an actor's director.
Yes.
Wow.
And then Jack Schaefer and her writing team. I mean, the writing was so dope that you didn't, I mean, like I was saying earlier, like when you have, every component of a production that's on point, it's so much easier to act. I don't have to really do too much. I didn't have to do anything extra because everything else was so on point that all I need to do is just show up on time. I probably could have read my lines off the paper and it still would have been on point. Like, that's how on point everything was. And I think Kevin Feige knew that. He just knew that, and he trusted everybody that was in the position they was in.
Well, definitely shout outs to Jack Schaefer and Matt Shackman. I remember, Mad Men was one of my favorite shows. So he was made perfect for this as far as the time periods and all of that. And
Yeah.
grew up off Family Ties, Different World, and all of that other stuff. So, this was just perfect for our generation and all of the kids that grew up running around in their underoos and all of that stuff, trying to be Spider-Man or whatever. So definitely salute to him.
Right.
Hooks, you got a question?
Yeah, I actually did want to jump in that, but he was giving us some good info right there. But he was basically talking about the writing was so great, that it was easy for you to adapt to the script and everything. Now, I know that you were in like 6 out of the 9 episodes that were on there. So I wonder, like, what was your favorite WandaVision episode? And if so, was there episode that you wanted to be in as Herb that you wasn't?
For one, all of them. Everyone I was in.
He's a safe player, B. This is the cleanup man, B.
I feel
told
it.
you the man been trained, man. The man has proper press training, man. You're not gonna get nothing out of him unless.
No, it's not even. I'm being honest. Like, if I had a favorite one, I was working. So all of them was nice. And if there was one that I wasn't in, it was the ones that I wasn't in. So I wish I was in the whole series, but. I was blessed and fortunate enough to be in the ones that I was in, at that particular point, which was freaking phenomenal.
You played a major part in it. It seemed like you almost was like the leader of the neighborhood watch and everybody else that you were dealing with amongst Vision's neighbors.
Yeah. And I didn't really think about that too much, and then like once I watched it, I was like, oh snap!
Yeah, you in control. Yeah,
I was like, man,
Yeah,
Power.
yeah.
We in here. We in here.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I'm talking about. I loved it.
So,
I felt empowered.
were there any scenes that you filmed that didn't survive the cutting room floor that you can remember? Like, oh, that didn't make it, that you can share now?
I honestly, I'm not sure, because there was so much going on at the time, and me, I was being like a big kid, man. It was like I was like a little fat kid at an all-you-can-eat buffet, and your parents was like, "Hey, have what you want." It's like, for real,
Take it all.
I'm forgetting what I'm eating.
Right.
Like everything was so good. I don't. There could be.
Do you remember having an exchange with a specific actor? Because basically you were exchanging with Agatha, you exchanged with
Catherine Hahn's character, yeah.
Catherine Hahn, Paul Bettany, and Elizabeth Olsen. And then you had you had that beautiful night watch table scene which introduced you, you know what I'm saying? But besides that, everything else was like, the townspeople thing, at the end where Wanda was still trying to fight whether she wanted to have control or not.
Right.
But do you remember any other interaction with any other, it doesn't have to be a star, but just any other interaction with another actor that you just said, oh man, we hit that, we did that, but it didn't make it.
Are you asking as far as like scenes or just interactions in general?
Well, interactions during work, like scenes and stuff.
Oh, yeah. As far as the scenes go, I didn't really have. I don't think we had any scenes that were like cut. I think because everybody was so on point. If they did, it'll probably be in the director's cut. But I think that everybody was so on point, and we were so in sync that it was like, I think we were doing extra takes just for fun.
Wow.
To be honest, like that's how clean it was. As far as like just interactions, man, I pretty much had an interaction that was, a wow factor from almost every person. So every person you seen me in a scene with, I had an interaction with, right, which was pretty dope. I think the most significant one was with Paul Bettany. At one point when we were shooting in Atlanta, we were, wrapping up some scenes for that week. And I remember we just sat in the makeup room in a makeup trailer because we both had the same makeup artist. So shout out to Jonah, he was a dope makeup artist. And we sitting there and we're just talking for like 45 minutes to an hour. And he was just, the majority of the time was just giving me like props. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, on the outside, I'm being cool. It's like, hey man, I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliments, man. I'm just feeding off your energy. But on the inside, I'm like, this is Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany just gave me
complimenting me.
Compliment? Like,
yeah.
Oh, I feel some type of way, But I had to keep my cool, and it was just like, honestly, it was like, while I was there, I wasn't starstruck. I just felt like I belonged. And I'm not saying it to be conceited or anything of that nature. It was just like I was so ready for that moment. And then when the moment came, it was just so surreal. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Even now, as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, it's still a surreal moment. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And truly a blessing at the same time.
It is. So, all right, I got another question. This one's a long-winded one. This is the one that I've been wanting to ask you since we started, but I actually appreciate the fact that we didn't have our interview that we were planning. We're so close to Wandavision because it gave time. It's like aged wine. Like the show was like aged wine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of crazy, like where we at now. It's still so natural for me to like, yo, what up? Like, let's talk. But it's crazy because you guys are on top of the world right now. Between you and Handmaid's Tale, you guys are owning the Emmy. So it's kind of surreal for me. You know what I'm saying? But here go the question. I gotta read this one because it's crazy. So I've never geeked out over a Marvel Studios production more than I did for WandaVision. I created the viral theory for Mephisto to appear through my articles at the Illuminati, and your character was part of that wave because I allowed myself to believe that the Easter eggs you planted were leading up to the showing up of Herbert Wyndham, High Evolutionary, who is integral to the origins and stories of not only Wanda and Pietro, but Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, Werewolf by Night, and the Darkhold, which showed up in WandaVision. So how much were you in on those tricks? And how much did you know about the character that Herb ended up being the red herring for? Yeah, that's the bomb. That's the bomb question right there.
That's why we here.
Like, you ever watch those war movies, and then like you see like those two concrete, doors open up from the ground, and then you see like that nuclear missile come up.
That's Silo, baby.
Yeah, that's
Silo. Yeah,
that's what you just did.
Thank you.
Man, great question. I don't even. I'm trying to figure out how can I approach this. Did I know?
Let's compartmentalize it like Marvel did.
Yeah, okay? Let's do that. So
first,
as far as like,
thank you for giving me something to geek out about. You know what I mean?
So as far as me knowing, like everything that was going on, that's how good Marvel kept it a secret.
Okay.
Like, when I was getting my scripts, like the writing was so good, I didn't even know what was going to happen next. So I would get my script for the specified scene.
Right.
And I was like, all right, cool, let me knock this out. And, as an actor, you want to know, like, for me, I want to know the beginning, the middle, and the end. Mm-hmm. I was just getting the middle. I was like, okay, I kind of, and this is where Matt Shackman would come in with his direction, which was phenomenal because, I trusted it. And I was like, because I don't know what's about to happen next. And I would tell him, I'm like, okay, so if I'm doing this, I don't even know what's about to happen. So is this so? And he'll let me know. He's like, okay, this is cool. And if there was some adjustments that need to be made, he'll let me know. He's like, okay, for this scene, I need you to, be this way. For example, with the Agatha, I didn't know she had me under her spell. Didn't know it at all. Mm-hmm. And in the direction he gave me, didn't even give it away.
Right.
And I was like, okay. He was like, just do X, Y, Z.
Did you ever share that before? Because I think you just shared something that we still had not officially got.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever shared that before either.
So that's exclusive right there.
The reason why is because I didn't want to give anything away during, because like Marvel, they had a.
I know.
Yeah, they waiting for you. They waiting for you.
I don't got my arms ain't that long, but I mean I know. You know what I'm saying?
So, so it was pretty interesting. Like I said, like because this is my first major project, right. So it's not like I'm not gonna be mad about like, oh, I need to know what happens next.
Right.
I'm not like, you know what? I'm gonna just trust this process. Mm-hmm. And Matt was so amazing and that's why I was saying he's an actor's director because like he was so cool and so chill, and it was just like it was almost kind of like a friendship. I know that sounds cheesy.
No, it doesn't.
That sounds beautiful.
No,
that's beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? It was like I felt like I was talking to a confidant during the time frame. Like, and I was like, yo, can I? He's like, I got you. Don't even worry about it. Just, do this.
That's beautiful.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah, I wish
like, that's how
DC would work like that. You know what I'm saying? I wish DC would work like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's
a whole other thing. But I mean, what you're saying is not cheesy at all. It's a beautiful. That's great to know. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the difference there. So
yeah. So when it came to if I knew anything, I just knew what I had to do at that moment. So all the scenes that you're seeing me in, that's all I knew at that point. Now, granted, once the next episodes, further on, I kind of got a grasp of, what was happening then. And then finally, as each episode progressed, then you kind of like know what was going on, if that makes sense.
So you knew that your name was Herb. And I know that you were a remedial comic book fan before you started from other interviews and stuff. So was there any inkling that you were being some way, had something to do with Herbert Wyndham and High Evolutionary? Or did you not even know that character existed and there was nothing there?
I just didn't know that the character existed. Excuse my the noise. That's I think that's.
Don't worry about it. This is a hood. This is a hood interview at this point. You got airplanes going off.
Yeah,
we late. You know what I'm saying?
At this point, I'm just waiting on the shadow head to walk by one of our.
That was my stretch.
You know
that's why I had to hit the
I'm
stretch.
purposely wearing the Negro League hat right now. I'm trying to show everything. You know what I'm saying? So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Tom and Jerry, everything is subliminal, babe. It is what.
Yeah, but there was a lot of. From my introduction, I think it was like the second episode. There were so many fan theories of me being high evolutionary.
Right.
It was one point somebody said I was the devil. I was like, all right.
That was because they were mixing, like they weren't reading the articles; they were just going off of the hype. And because they had the Mephisto article and the High Evolutionary articles going together, and then we were talking about the big red Easter egg that you dropped in when you first got, yeah. So basically, they weren't reading, and then they were just going off of what they heard and mixed up Mephisto, High Evolutionary, Big Red, and just was acting stupid. But I was paying attention to everything. I was reading every article. I was watching all your interviews. And I
gotta give you props, man. You are well researched. You got more information than I do. So that's why I'm sitting here like, man.
Yeah, I've been trying to talk to you, man. We could have been having wild conversations behind the scenes, just talking.
Look, you make me want to. I need to go watch Wandavision again.
Yes, you do.
I need to go
2, 3, 4, 5 times
again. Like you know way more than I do.
Yeah.
And I was in it. Yeah. How's that even possible?
Because, man, I'm like Kevin Feige. I think about this all day long in my sleep since I was 10, man. It's just
I got to give you props on that one. Like you made me feel some type of way.
You made me feel some type of way because I thought I still think that you can get. I still think that there's a way for you to become that character. You know what I'm saying? The writing room is very creative, and there've been Easter eggs and then with this multiverse thing that's happening with them, there's this series that you might want to pick it up. It has really nothing to do with the first season of WandaVision, but because they brought in so many magical Easter eggs
aspects,
right? There's this story, part of the Secret War story called Weird World. I'm saying it right, Weird World, right?
Yeah.
So Weird World is the magical moon, if you want to call it, of Battle World, where Secret Wars happens. Secret Wars is already being shown that it's coming because of the multiverse thing that's happening. So in Weird World, there's this magician called Morgan Le Fay. Morgan Le Fay is probably one of the most powerful magicians in history. Yeah. She's counterparts to Merlin, right? So Morgan Le Fay runs this whole thing. Catherine Hahn's character, she dropped a Easter egg when she was talking about how she controlled Ralph Boner, which actually connects to Weird World. So there is a way to make everything that happened within that hex be just, all kinds of magical spells, all kinds of things that could happen. The multiverse could change things, and you could still be brought back in as the actual Herb. Like, so it's not over yet. Marvel could still do what they want to do, and I'm praying that they do it. I'm praying that
so too, man.
It would be so amazing to have High Evolutionary be a black man. You know what I'm saying? Because he's actually a white guy from London, but to the way that they're doing all of this race bending and gender bending, to bring that back to WandaVision would be amazing. But that's me geeking out. So far, it's like, you know.
Yeah, you on a whole nother level.
Like, yeah. So let me bring it back. Is it?
Yeah, I'm in the valley, and you like at the top of a super mountain somewhere. Just you looking over everybody. You got a 360-degree view.
Yo,
I can only see like.
Yo, but your performance was that still profound. Your voice, the way that you were able to adjust in the time periods, even though they, like my man Hooks was saying, even though they gave you the Leroy look at one point. And
man, it's the truth, bro. It's like you started with like the Fat Albert look. That's how they introduced you. You had a nice little Fat Albert.
They gave you the Fat Albert, then they gave you the Leroy.
Then the Leroy with the mustache. With the
my God!
I was so impressed.
What they doing to my boy here? What are they doing?
But you have to understand, like that was our look at that time. Granted. During that time, there wasn't even a lot of Black people in those sitcoms.
That's right.
So to even have a Black person within those eras was just a breakthrough. It was so many. There were so many little minuscule, like microscopic breakthroughs they were doing in this show that like people like you would catch, and they were bringing to my attention. I'm like, oh snap, that's pretty dope. Yeah. So it was a lot of that going on that people just didn't really realize, which was pretty cool.
They may just, how the back in the days, they wouldn't have been able to have your skin look as good as it did for Black people. They didn't even know how to film Black people correctly back then. So I thought that was a breakthrough that as soon as I saw it got me excited. The fact they had you as the lead of the Night Watch was amazing. There were so many little things that they did that just, the things that are shared that you can't even put into words are actually to me probably the most priceless ones, especially for a show like this. But I'm sorry, I'm holding up the flow of the interview because
you're good, man.
Excited, you know what I'm saying, to talk to you. And as you can see, I'm so deep into it that I don't necessarily have to talk to the star of the show about this project right when it comes out. I want to talk to the people that impact me, that I can share my excitement with my followers and my family and my fans, you know what I'm saying? So that they could feel the show through how I'm seeing it. And, like I said, man, I loved your character from the moment he came in. And we were excited about you from the trailer because we saw your name was Herb on the closed caption. And from that point on, we was like, oh, Herb is this high evolutionary son. It's a Black dude too. Oh my God. Yo, we went crazy. We went crazy. I'm talking about, I can't even tell you the stuff we was doing while we were watching it, because that's not for TV. But I'm just saying, it was so hood though, but it was so Marvel at the same time, right? So, just thank you for that. Let me keep it going because this is to bring it back to the professional, you know what I'm saying, thing that we're trying to do here, So Lizzie Olsen claimed that she and Paul Bettany created an emotional foundation between Vision and Wanda that didn't play around with irony in the movies at all. That statement blew my mind because WandaVision encompasses irony completely and wholly. Then it plays around with it to a point that we're all sucked into this new world. Do you know in any way, shape, or form if that was done intentionally with the writing and everything, or was it just so ironic that that they played with irony, the opposite of what this dynamic they had prior to the show set up as a foundation for them?
Well, for me, and this is me on the outside looking in on their relationship as far as the character and them working together. They're two, first of all, both of them are two extremely talented actors. From on the outside looking in, I think it could have been a combination of both. I'm not sure, but it goes back to the collaboration of everyone involved. But their relationship, obviously acted in, you know, they've been in previous movies that led to this series. But I think their chemistry was just so on point. I think it was just beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was just going to work out. So it's I can't really say if that was one or the other, but what I can say is that their relationship and their bond was just that strong. You could see it when I was on set, the way they worked together. I mean, it was so inspiring. Like it made me want to become better. Like there were times when I was on set and I didn't even have to be on set, and I would just sit there and watch them both. And they were like collaborating and then communicating, the way they communicated and talked to each other just for like a 30-second scene. They would spend like an hour or hours just talking about something so simple. And I'm sitting there like, this is only 30 seconds. Like, why y'all? Oh. And it was so inspiring, so mind-blowing. Like, it made me want to become a better actor. So their chemistry was, phenomenal.
Okay,
That's beautiful.
Thank you for that.
I did want to ask a quick question before I get into the other questions. I was wondering, they basically stated that Wandavision was like one of the first of its kind. It was filmed in front of like a live studio audience. So how did that aspect either help or kind of make you feel wary about acting out your role during this time?
For me, I can't really go into detail about that part because I'm not sure if it gives away any of the discretion of the series. But what I will say is that I think you just treat it just like it's just like theater. And I've done theater in the past, not as heavy as some of the lead characters, but it's you got to treat it the same way.
Okay, cool. All right, that makes sense. But just as I mentioned before, like Herb was like the leader, like the outline of the entire crew of townspeople. But there were some things that stuck out to me, like Herb giving him the gum that caused like the whole malfunction at the magic show, and how you almost told Vision, right? Like you almost snitched. You almost told Vision about like Wanda's illusions that she was having. And it also brought me back to thinking about that Halloween episode, because I know Marvel doesn't show you anything for no reason. So when I was looking at everyone's costume and the way it was made up, you got Wanda and Vision in their classic costumes. You had the kids, which was another Easter egg hunt, and they were dressed in their Wiccan and Speed costumes. And then, you were in Frankenstein. So that for some reason stuck out to me. Like I was wondering, did the costume of Frankenstein like have anything to do with your character as far as it's going into the MCU, and was it able to withstand Wanda's magic?
Man, when I tell you, y'all are pulling out some nuclear bomb, man. Goodness gracious.
Everyone loves a good story.
Right.
We just want to know, because like, think about it. If with all these fan theories that you're hearing about, imagine the ones we putting in our own brain on a daily basis.
Right.
So now it's like, how can I not act somebody right now that may or may not calm these questions that I have going off in my head?
Right. Well, I mean, dang, man, that's a great question.
I'm proud of you, Hooks. I'm proud of you.
I'm trying, baby. I'm trying.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, I mean, it goes back to me saying, like they keep a lot of stuff, out of our mind. Yeah, like it's like I didn't even think about that. Like when I put on the costume, I was like, oh, okay.
You just Frankenstein.
Yeah, to my assumption, I was just thinking it was just for that particular scene where, because I think and correct me if I'm wrong, I think in that particular scene, we was doing the neighborhood watch for the neighborhood and that interaction between me and Elizabeth Olsen character, Wanda, she was actually searching for Vision.
Yes.
And I was like, well, he's not on watch today.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Tell you,
so
snitching again. See?
You know.
Coach is snitching.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I didn't even know I was snitching. I was like, wow, he ain't here. He off work.
Right.
He took the day off.
Right.
He's like, oh,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as my, my costume, I'm not quite sure. You never know. It could be.
Okay, I could deal with that, I guess. I could deal with it. It could be.
Yeah,
So
high
we need to think
evolutionary.
about some more stuff.
So
look.
I
maybe
would love.
you don't know.
I would love to be high evolutionary. I mean, right now, I still got some of my baby fat that I need to work on. That's another conversation.
Oh,
But I
worry,
mean,
baby.
I would love.
Well, he would be
to do that.
if they did him right, he would need to be a CG character anyway. But just so you know, as he continued to evolve, because he evolved to basically from a human being into a god. But at one point, because of the way his armor was, he actually evolved, but he looked like Frankenstein under his armor.
Oh.
So that was why that was another Easter egg for us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
See, and that's all I say. You guys are on a whole nother level of knowledge. Like you guys, y'all.
It's
I'm
another
telling you,
level.
I'm like right here, and y'all.
Don't worry, B. We lifting you up, man.
Can you drop a rope?
I got you. We sent in a wormhole for you just to jump in, and then you're gonna end up here with us.
For real. Get Dr. Strange to do the thing.
The thing with the fingers.
Yeah. So
that'll work.
So that was that. I mean, they had already said that your name was something Collins. I can't remember what was his first name. Collins. John Collins and stuff like that. But I don't know what's going on with this. They got to shut this down. Block this, block that, turn that off. But yeah, so we had already know your name was John Collins by the time you had Frankenstein, but that was how they strung, like Jack tried to act like she didn't know what she was doing, but there's no way in hell that she ain't know what she was doing to have us strung along, even as she was telling us it ain't what you think it is. You know what I'm saying? And there's no way in hell that she didn't know. So by the time we got to seeing you as Frankenstein, we were already supposed to have accepted that, nah, he ain't, that's not what's going on. But then they gave us that, which made us even, wait, maybe he is still, which was
maybe they're playing.
Which was perfect to keep us as excited as we were from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. So it was genius that they actually had you as Frankenstein. You know what I'm saying? You didn't realize that, but now you know.
Absolutely. And thank you for educating me on that.
Good. That's what I'm saying. There's still hope for you, bro, because they did too much work for your character. There was still too much work for your character put in, as opposed to Miss Deborah, you know what I'm saying, where she had the illest first, action. Stop. And then she hit us. We did an interview with her for Illuminati, and she had us geeking, thinking that everything was more than it was, that lights flickering meant something and ain't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Right. So she had us gassed up from episode 1. So we still looking at you and we're still looking at everything. And,
they've been playing with us, man.
Jack and Matt killed it, man. They killed it. Normally I'm on point, but they killed it, man. They killed it.
Yeah, so.
You got one more?
Yeah, I definitely do. I got another one. All right, so let's talk about something maybe you can't talk about, I'll make it simple. All right, cool. With the success and air of WandaVision, it's safe to say that now you have like a younger audience, a more younger and more youthful audience that's more present now. Now, how does this new fame that's added, has it added any like unforeseen changes to your life? Now that you have this younger fan base or these new branch of fans and people looking at you now?
You know what? I don't think there is a significant change. I mean, it's just, I do have a new fan base, which is dope. Like, the MCU fan base, there's no fan base like it.
Yes.
Whatsoever. Like, I mean, you guys are just a clear example of how on point like MCU is. Like, y'all educating me on things that I didn't even know. As far as, you know, it is a significant change as far as like, you know, the respect that I have for the fans. I mean, it's I can't even put it into words how cool it is, if that makes sense. I hope I answered that right.
No, you answered it. You answered it. I was just wondering, like, if the fact that you have this younger audience, has it changed anything for you specifically? You know, but you definitely got into it.
Okay, yeah. All right, perfect. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. I'll take the professional.
So with the initial hype for WandaVision being epic as it was, to now another impending wave coming with the 23 Emmy nominations, you know it's going to go to another level at the Emmy Awards and all of that. What haven't you been asked that you're surprised nobody's asked you yet?
Wow. I think every question, almost every question that I've been getting so far, there's a lot of, I mean, you guys have just thrown some at me today that threw me completely off. I'm like, man, I'm serious. I really need to go back and do my homework. Y'all have really challenged me to really know my stuff. You know, you know, so that's
on a Sunday. On a Sunday, it's
right
going down on a Sunday.
Right.
Yes.
You know,
so ain't no devils over here for all y'all haters or whatever. We just love Marvel, man. And don't try to attribute none of us to no Mephisto just because he's the Joker of Marvel, man. Just relax on that. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah. You know. So what's next for you, bro? Like, I saw you were working on some independent stuff. Congratulations to you on that. You know, you know, tell us about that and what's coming up next.
Well, right now, I mean, I just finished doing a production for a feature film called Glitch. So I finished that up. Right now, I'm just working on my craft, man. You know, working on some projects. I got some meetings coming up for some future productions. So we'll see what's about to happen. You know, I have a strong feeling that this is not the last time you'll see me on the screen.
Dope. And
that's perfect.
You know, you got fans over here, like, you know, it don't, even if you never did another Marvel project, bro, you know, you got fans over here and we support you, man. And your your story is an amazing story that needs to be told. And I'm hoping, you know, by the time we do the art of the superpower, that you're a little bit more ready to open up about those things that could help the next person, you know, with their issues, you know what I'm saying, as well, because your story is amazing, man. And also it shows providence, right? It's a unique story because you didn't even really, you went as hard as you could on a one shot and got a Marvel, you got a Marvel gig. You know what I'm saying?
Look, man,
that's not normal, bro.
I can't even take credit for any of this. Honestly, I mean, this is all God.
This is all God.
It's all God, man. Because truth be told, you know, and I have a great team. You know, my manager's great.
Right.
And you know, because
say your manager's name, man. Say your manager's name, man. Give him the props.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Melanie, Firmly of Entertainment. Like, I got her, you know, through Paul Bettany.
Wow.
You know, so you know, I can't take credit for that. You know, like, I can't take credit for even booking, you know, WandaVision. You know, I just truly believe it was all God. You know, the only thing, I'll tell you the story how it came about. My agent submitted me for the role, and there was a tape audition, so I had to videotape myself and submit it. So when my agent called me and you know, sent over the audition, and I read it, it said Marvel. I was like, I ain't getting this. I was like, and I didn't say that in a self-conscious way. I'm just more like, there's 1,000 dudes about to go for this role.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that there's somebody in the higher ranking, you know, like there's an A-list celebrity that's gonna go for this. They're gonna pick. I was like, I ain't getting this. I ain't gonna turn it down. I'm audition. Let me give them the best version of me and I'll be done with it.
Right.
So I submitted my tape audition. A week goes by. I'm at work. I'm at McDonald's, and I rarely go there. I probably go to like once every 10 months with that. And I'm sitting in line, and I'm like, the line was so long, and I'm about to leave anyway.
Right.
I get a FaceTime call from my agent. She FaceTimed me. She usually just called me. She was like, "Hey, hon."
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Just want to let you know you got the part." I was like, "Part for what?" She's like, "Marvel." I was like,
That's a wonderful time to find out about it.
I was like, you messing with me right now. Granted, mind you, I'm on my lunch break at a job where I'm a little stressed. I kid you not. So when she tells me this, long story short, I'm driving back. I scream like a little kid. Let me tell y'all something. I wanted to quit my job right there.
That day. Like, that's it. I hit the lottery. Hell with y'all. I don't need this damn job.
Like, I made it. Like, man, look. I was like, man, this is Marvel. Like, I wanted to walk into my boss. I was like, hey, I just want to let you know I quit.
Ain't even signed the contract yet. Not even an NDA.
I ain't signed nothing.
Ready to quit.
I just got a verbal confirmation. And I'm like, that was good enough for me. And I had to check myself. I was like, let me take a breather. And right. I was literally sitting at my desk.
That's beautiful, man.
And I'm like, I got the part. And it didn't even hit me. It didn't hit me until like after the fact. Like even when we finished production for Wandavision, it didn't hit me until I was sitting in my bed and I put on my Disney Plus and my picture was on like the
backdrop.
The backdrop.
Wow, wow.
And I was sitting there and I'm like, I just looked at it. I was looking at it for like 5-10 minutes straight, not saying a word. Like, and my first words like, man, look at God.
Amen.
That's
amen.
dope.
Amen.
I was like, man.
Well,
I was like, oh, this is okay. That's time to get to work.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and it worked twice as hard to get half as far, unfortunately. Basically. But let's let you know, I beat you on a Disney Plus, just so you know. I'm on Disney Plus before y'all showed up.
Let them know.
I believe it.
I'm in the Marvel 616 show.
Disney Plus just for WandaVision.
You can see me on the Marvel 616 documentaries on the Marvel Method episode with Dan Slott. And I got my youngest son that's part of the logo, the Everyone Loves a Good Story logo, and my daughter. And we in there interviewing, we were getting ready to interview Dan Slott. And because we are a Marvel family and it goes that deep with us, they wanted to interview us. So we made it, we made it in there. So I got a nice cameo in there, but I felt the same way you did, and I'm not even acting. I'm just like, yo, I'm on Disney Plus.
I'm streaming,
like, dude, as me. You know what I'm saying?
Like, dude, it's still, man, look, it's still a surreal moment, man. Congratulations to you for that. Now I gotta go back and watch it just to support you.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, it's really truly a blessing, man. Like 23 nominations. During the time, you know, it debuted, it was the #1 watch series in the world.
Rightfully so.
In the world.
You guys, what Elizabeth Olsen, I mean, I want to give Paul Bettany his roses while he's here too, but what Elizabeth Olsen did in that show,
yeah, man,
so phenomenal. Even when you watch it, you can still get choked up. You know what I'm saying? And she deserves it all, man. Anything she got nominated for, she should be wiping. She should be cleaning the house. She should be cleaning.
I'm hoping for a clean house from the art department, you know, to the directions. I mean, this dude, like that whole team was magical.
Yeah.
As cliche as that sounds, it was true. Like everybody was on point. I mean, you know, you have your ups and downs through productions, but man, people stuck it through, man. We had so much fun.
And
that's amazing.
Yo,
that's amazing.
I remember another question I want to ask you. So when you guys were changing time periods, right?
Mm-hmm.
I caught that that the crew was dressed up like y'all. Did they change to different time periods while y'all did too? Or
absolutely.
were they
everything? That's what I was saying. Everything was on point.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
If you really look, if you look at it, when you go back and look at the episodes, from the background to even the movie theater, that changed. Every decade that we went to, it was adjusted, from the casting to the everything in the set was changed to that time frame. I mean, even my watch, I had a different watch for every decade.
But
like this watch,
the crew wasn't even in. You couldn't even see the crew, but they were dressed like y'all.
Oh no, you talking about the crew in the back, like out from the camera. Oh no, the crew was maxing and relaxed.
Okay, because I saw that they were dressed. I saw that they were dressed for the time period when they did the live show. So
yes,
I was trying to figure out if they did that for each time period, like to just, you know, as a way of showing support to what you guys were doing and to encompass the
I think it was period. for the live show, anybody that could be seen from a live audience. That's
okay.
They had to, that was okay. But anybody behind the scenes,
okay, all right, so that's fine.
I mean, there was a few people that was butt naked, but
let's not get to that, bro. We already know about your other career aspirations that we can't say because we want kids to watch this show. We want kids to watch this show, so we're not even trying to say nothing about that. Leave that on the cover.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave that alone. So that's, you know what, that was so funny because that was like one of my first interviews, and I was a little bit too comfortable.
I could tell. I could tell. I like that.
Yo, I bust out laughing when I heard it.
You could see how, like, after I say that, I'm like, I should.
It was funny. It was funny.
You can see it. I felt it, and then I watched, and I could look at my face. I was like,
I don't know. It was funny though. You got a career in comedy if you want. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you do.
Definitely, man. I appreciate it, man. You know what? It's funny because I have a friend who's a comedian, and he's been trying to get me to do comedy for the longest.
Man.
But this is picked up, so I was like, I kind of put that on hold. So,
man, you can do it all.
Yeah, bro, that's synonymous.
You gotta be who you are, and let the light shine when it shines, man. Just be true to yourself, man. You are a personable dude with a real good sense of humor, and you laid back. So you can catch people with the crazy lines because they won't ever see him coming. You know what I'm saying? So do what you do, man. Shine, brother. Shine.
Yeah, man.
Facts.
Might as well.
Facts.
Yeah. And I thank you for this time, man. We could talk forever. As you can see, that 4-hour interview that I end up getting people on with you see why it'll be 4 hours before you even realize you've been talking, because I'm definitely, we passionate about just seeing our people. And when I say our people, I'm talking about creatives that love what they do,
right?
Just as real as anybody else, going through life and death situations like anybody else, bills needing to be paid, just this life, but still finding a way to overcome that with God's grace, uncommon favor, you know what I'm saying? And be here to tell the story for the next generation. So I thank you for that, man, and we support you. We hoping that y'all get every Emmy nom. I want you to get all 23. I don't want
I'm rooting for him, man. Like I'm just so I'm just so happy to be a part of such a, historic project, man. And I appreciate y'all even just, giving me this opportunity to be on your platform and just, share my part of the story, man.
Thank you, man.
I'm truly grateful, and one thing I will add is like, we still going through life. So am I, and right now I'm still learning how to enjoy it. I'm still learning how to appreciate these moments. Like this moment here is like, this is what sparks my inspiration. So I appreciate you guys. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, bro.
Thank y'all for being here. We're gonna end it here. And God bless y'all. Talk to you to the next session.